Hi there, traders. Thank you guys so much again for joining us here at Trade Delicious. We have another special treat for you. Another trader, another very, very interesting, passionate coach here to help us to be better, not just as traders, but as people and in life. We're talking about Mat Hani. He is a millionaire trader, got his start in stocks, went on into crypto, and then started coaching and trying to help others to be better. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce to some and to present to others the magnificent Mat Hani. Matt, how you doing, brother?
Thank you very much, Aaron. It was a great pleasure hearing you, and it's a great pleasure that you have found this space so we can connect together. I'm feeling very good.
Great. I'm glad to hear it, man. So walk me through it. You have a lot in terms of these licenses, in terms of your coaching. So when you coach traders, when you're on that first call, what do you talk about? What are you trying to help people to do?
It's very strange for me to be in the situation where you are asking me about me, because it's usually what I do, what I ask people about them. And when I am with somebody on the first session where we talk for, let's say, 30 minutes about what they struggle with, I always ask the series of questions to help me identify the root cause of their problem. You see, many times traders come and they say, "Oh, I am over trading, and so let's fix it in trading." But many times the same pattern of over trading or overdoing something shows up in different areas of their life. And what happens most of the time is that the problem did not originate in trading. Trading is just this tool to make it visible. It's like, "Hey, Aaron, I'm here. Please pay attention to me." And so what I always do, I try to find analogy in their life where this also happens and then fix it on all these levels at the same time. So if you are inconsistent in trading, then you are probably inconsistent in other areas of your life. And if you fix it in other areas, you will fix it there. The same for discipline, the same for patience, the same for risk aversion, the same for over trading, like I mentioned at the beginning.
A real holistic approach. I really
correct.
appreciate that, and I've seen so much of your work, whether it be on Twitter or through your website, through the blogs and everything, and I definitely got that impression from you. So, can you give us an example? So, say I am one of your clients coming to you. Yesterday is a great example. I've been trading for 6 years.
Yes.
Very, very proud of what I've been able to accomplish in my career. Yesterday, I had an issue where I had a idea that I stuck to too aggressively, and I ended up burning myself out mentally, got out of trades that I should have held on to, and ended up missing out on a lot of profits. Where do you start with the person there?
That's a good question. So when we talk about this specifically, I would really like to know what the rules are. In other words, what is it that you compare your performance from yesterday to? So what is the normal? What is the norm? What is the average that you would like to do in these situations? Many times it happens to be the case that people don't know. People just go and feel it out or use gut feeling, which might be a good idea for somebody who has 6 years of experience, but for most of them is not. And even in your case, you seem to, like you said, you suffered. Yes. So if I was to track it back, I would like to know, in your case, what was the emotion, what was the underlying emotion that you felt after you had gone through this experience?
Wow.
Right?
That was cool. That was such a great answer, Matt. So I love to give this as examples to traders. So for me personally, I was anxious.
Right.
Obviously on this platform, I'm trying to help others to be better traders. So I hold myself to a higher standard
Very good.
because I expect myself to perform at a higher level.
Right.
So the fact that I ended yesterday, I think my total, I was flat more or less. I had a profit of $23.50.
Still profitable. Okay, great.
That's something, but it's not exactly what people would expect. So
Right.
I put that pressure on myself, and I felt like an anxiety.
Nice. Okay, so what do you describe? Because I already, my hands were already moving to take some notes, because that's what I do when I work with people. I believe that people always know what the problem is, what is the root cause, and how to fix it. It's not that I have the answers. You have the answers. And it is just by listening the language that you use and the words that you use that reveals everything. It's almost as if your unconscious mind was always trying to say something to reveal the secret, but nobody listens. And then I come and you just talk, and you said two things. First of all, that you were anxious. And second of all, that you have this internal image of you that you are holding yourself towards. Yes, so you want to look like you have this image towards other people, how they would see you. And so there was this performance pressure. If the image is not there, that doesn't mean that you are not holding your standards, but that means that you will not experience anxiety. And anyway, you say, and that's also another example. You say that you struggled yesterday, yet you finished profitable. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So I see that there is again some comparison and expectation to that comparison that I wanted to. In other words, I should have performed better, yet I didn't. Yes, and there is this comparison and there is this anxiety coming from it. So in other words, if the comparison disappears, you just act, you do your best, and you finish anyway with $23, profitable. But there is not this emotional baggage. There is not this heavy feeling. There is not so much energy spent as you did yesterday.
Huh.
Okay.
I didn't expect this to turn into a therapy session for me. I apologize, guys. My God, that is so insightful. Okay, so I imagine you see that often, because when I think back through my own trading,
right,
just off the top of my head, when I think of examples where I performed super well, I didn't have that external image necessarily.
It's nothing. It's just you are there. You are just playing the game. You are playing the game.
Yeah.
When you perform at your best, you are just there, watching how it moves, enjoying yourself, getting in, getting out, feeling it. And then it stops and you kind of step out of it. And it's as if you were just playing, I don't know, the musical piece you were playing on the piano. It's the same clicking with the mouse or whatever it is that you are doing. Yes, being in the flow. There is no comparison. Mm-hmm. It's just you enjoying yourself. Yeah, but that didn't happen yesterday, and then you suffered.
Right. Huh. So what do you do in that situation? I feel like I talk to so many different traders that struggle with that exact thing. I'm sure it's not something you can do in like one session, right? So if you're working with somebody and
yes, it usually
in 30
isn't.
minutes, you can't fix it.
Yeah, it usually isn't. But the thing is that that's why I have a drop approach that you can see behind me, the ROP, which are 4 steps that I go through with each and every client of mine, with every trader. But really, when we talk about this specific event or this specific emotion, we focus on the emotion, which is like, when you talk to traders, they're like, what is that? What is it? Like, tell me the entry, tell me the exit, tell me the position sizing, tell me what I should read or what indicator to put there. But let's not focus on myself. It's happening over there on the screen. Yes, it is not, guys.
Right.
No, it is not. It is happening in here. Yes. So when you change the emotion, and in this case, what I would like to know is, where was the emotion in your life before? Maybe before you started trading, what was what were the situations that you experienced the same anxiety, the same performance pressure, where somebody held the image that you should be somehow, and you were different, and you felt maybe performance pressure? Because once this disappears from your life, then it disappears from your trading.
Wow.
There you go. I can see already, like, oh my God, what is happening, right? You see, here is the thing.
Right, yeah.
You see, here is the thing. I love pattern recognition. When I was trading crypto from a prop company in Sydney, from the office, what I loved the most about it was not P&L. It was nice. But what I loved was there were 3, 4, 5 people standing behind me, trainees, new guys, newbies, asking me questions, pointing the finger. It's like, hey, why do you do this one? And why didn't you? And why didn't you? And so being with people, for me, it's the most satisfactory thing that I can do. Like to use the pattern recognition on people and to find the root cause of, hey, this is not actually trading related at all. And this fixes you in many areas of your life. For me, it's the most satisfaction. Now, does it make the same amount of money? Not really. Not yet.
Of course, right. Not yet. Perfect.
Not yet. But does it offer a much higher level of satisfaction? Absolutely. For me, absolutely.
That's, my goodness, that's insane. So walk me through it. I know that you were telling me about your experiences beforehand where you had this experience with equities that didn't go so well. You find incredible success in crypto, and then you start trying to build this skill set in order to really help yourself. Can you elaborate a little bit on that journey and what that was like?
Right, right. So I'm originally from Slovakia. And I used to work as a financial advisor, and I was really, really interested in trading, like forex and indicators and how it all works. And I went to one course about forex trading, but I just didn't understand anything. And then when we moved to Australia, we moved in 2014. I started trading in 2017 equities. I was always interested, but in 2017 I started, and I wanted to trade where the money is. Yes, and when you trade equities, the money is in the US. Yeah, ideally at the open, first hour and a half, or maybe a little bit,
Yep.
a little bit like 8:30 until maybe 11. Those hours are these golden hours. But trading
Exactly.
it from Australia means that you need to wake up, in the middle of the night. And so
Yeah.
I did it for 12 months where my wife would come home from work and she would go to sleep where I would be waking up and vice versa in the morning.
Wow.
And I sucked at it. I sucked, guys. It was horrible. It was very bad. I was consistently losing trader, but I was sitting with it. I was journaling. I was using the strategy like I was supposed to. I even followed or I was subscribed to Investors Underground, which I'm pretty sure that you guys know.
Of course. Yeah.
Which I highly appreciate for what they offer, but it just wasn't for me because of all these external things. Yes, and so after 12 months of suffering and losing about 40,000, I didn't have enough money to continue with PDT rule, 25,000 or more. So I started to kind of struggle with that and suffer, and that's when I decided to quit. I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't work for me. So I'm going to quit. But I still was looking for some options, for some ways how to solve it. And I saw a TED talk on YouTube. And there was a guy who was saying that if you are in a situation where you are trying to change yourself, you want to be, let's say you want to be confident. Yes, you want to be confident. You go to the public speaking situation and you want to be confident. But then something else happens and you go and you say to yourself, oh, just believe in yourself and you'll be fine, let's do this. And then you go there and you start to sweat and you start to and your breathing changes and you start to sweat and you've got all this anxiety. Then you are not really in control. Who is in control is your unconscious mind. And so in order to change your behavior, it is not enough for you to be standing in front of the mirror and repeating affirmations or believing in yourself. You need to create space to make this change happen. And that was it. And I was like at the edge of my seat. I was like, okay, so what is it? What is it? What is it? But he didn't say it. And I'm like, well, this sucks. This sucks.
Right.
So then I Googled him and I found that this guy is offering hypnotherapy and coaching courses where they teach you to be hypnotherapist, where they teach you to be coach, where they teach you to be doing neuro-linguistic programming or tapping all these energy psychology techniques. I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to change myself as a trader. And so I remember we had 20,000 Australian dollars at our account, which was not enough to be trading US stocks. And the course was 10K for one person. And so I came to my wife and I said, hey, I want to do it. I'm going to take half of our money and I'm going to do it. And actually, I believe what we should do is to take a whole 20K. And first I will go and I will do it. And then you go and you do it. And she was listening to me for 5 minutes and she was like, well, okay, let's do it. And so we did.
Wow.
So we did. So I took half of our money and I went to this course. And it was quite intense course for like 2 weeks, like 10 days, 10 hours a day. So quite a lot. And it was hands-on approach. So there was not much of a theory. It was more about, hey, there is this technique for, let's say you want to stop smoking. Is there somebody who wants to stop? Oh yeah, come in front, let's do it. So it's not like we talk about it, we do it. So during those 2 weeks, I changed my how I talk to myself, my inner talk, changed from this criticizing person to a supportive person. I stopped biting my fingernails, right there on the spot. I resolved my past from my childhood things. There was a lot of crying within those 2 weeks. But when I came home after 2 weeks, yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
Oh, sounds rough. Yeah.
Right. When I got home at the airport, my wife is like, "Hey, what's happened?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "You look maybe 5 years younger. What is happening?" And so this brought this immense shift. And I came home, and I knew what I needed to do. I knew that I had to stop trading US stocks. I knew that I needed to find something local, and there was this opening for crypto company with a crypto firm with trading Bitcoin or something. I didn't know any of that. Like I didn't understand what it was. But I applied. And so they only wanted people to have their account for 1 month and to end up profitable. That's all they wanted. They provided training. That was all they wanted. And I lost. I was not profitable. I was like 10% down. But they invited me anyway. And I'm like, why did you invite me? And they said, because you traded the most volume from all. But it wasn't like a little bit. But I was just sitting there. I was trading. I was clicking. And they were like, "Hey, we need somebody like you with this dedication. But we will teach you what you should be looking for, and when you should be clicking, and then you will be fine." And that's what happened. So they gave me the training. They trained me to use their proprietary tool for trading Bitcoin on BitMEX. It was originally on BitMEX, and it worked. It worked very much. So that was my journey. I went quite long now.
I I personally love it, Matt. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing your story. I think one thing that we often take for granted, not just in the trading space, but in any type of space where we're looking after some type of personal growth. I know me personally, I attach to stories like that, and I remember
Right.
stories like that, and those stories produce lessons. So, in your experience, what was the overarching lesson that you took from that experience in hypnotherapy? If you had to if you had to sum it up in a sentence or two,
I
what
like
was
it.
the biggest thing you took away?
I like it. I like it very much. So I believe that the results of the results that we achieve in life, regardless of if it's trading or outside of trading, are directly correlated with our unconscious programming. And if you see the results that work for you, then my friend, continue doing what you are doing. But if you see results that don't, then consider changing your unconscious programming. Find a tool, find a way, and just change your unconscious programming. It is easier, far easier than you can imagine, but you gotta find a tool.
And when you talk about that, I attach onto this thing, this the unconscious programming. I understand the self talk. Of course, as a trader, I'm incredibly critical of myself because I'm constantly looking to get better. Month over month, I'm hoping my win rate is just a fraction of a point better,
I love
right?
it. I love it.
But when I think about unconscious programming, I want to make sure I understand that right. So your unconscious programming is the
Let's go with the
underlying thing for
example.
everything.
Let's go with the
Yeah,
example. Yes.
please,
Okay. So
please.
there is this trader from Australia, and
Yeah,
what he suffered with was consistency problem. Yes. So
yeah,
he knew what
yeah.
he should have been doing. His trading approach is spot on. He was already consistently profitable in the past, but then he reached a certain level of success, and suddenly his consistency dropped, and he wasn't consistent in the tasks that he was supposed to be doing or he would like to do. And so he believed, okay, let's fix consistency. But now my question would be, why would it make sense for him to be inconsistent now? Not how to change the consistency, but why would it make sense for him to be inconsistent now when he hit a certain level of success? And so what happened and what we discovered is that he was afraid of success, which is, trust me, like one of the like this new age, it's a new age thingy. Yes, it is just new age, but anyway, it is very real, where people are afraid to be successful because then they leave their families who were only average, and they suddenly feel like they don't belong. Yes. And so what happens, instead of him leaving the family, he self-sabotage himself. That's another word how you can say it. So he's not consistent, so he doesn't have success, so he doesn't have to feel like he doesn't belong. For him, it's much more important to belong than to make money, even though he would like to make money. So how do you bridge? How do you find combination where he can belong and where he can be successful at the same time? Where if it doesn't work, then there is something in the unconscious program. So there is a line of code that needs to change. And when that changes, everything changes. Okay, so and make it even easier. Let's consider this
Wow.
one. You decide to
Yeah.
update your PC to Windows 11. Yes, you have now
Right.
Windows 10, and you click Windows 11. Why not? As soon as the installation is done, nobody cares what used to be. Nobody cares about Windows 10 because your PC now with the new programming behaves like a PC with Windows 11, and you have new functionalities and you have new features that you didn't have. So what I do with people is that I update unconscious programming, so it functions just like they want it to be.
Wow. It's almost like you do this professionally. You know, you have such a way with a way of words, Matt. My God, that's so fascinating to me. So when you're thinking about the average trader that you're talking to,
Right.
what is consistency one of the most common issues that you come across? What are the most common problems that you see with traders like this that need an update in their unconscious programming?
Love it. Love the question. Love the terms. How we quickly pick them up. So what we talk about the most is there are three underlying issues. One is usually fear of success, which is something that always has underlying issue. Let's say sense of not belonging, or sense of even shame, which is the second thing where people feel shame because if you are rich, then you probably did something not nice to people. There are people who believe that, whole families, whole civilizations, whole societies. Yes. So now you are rich and you make money so quickly. You don't add any value, like some people believe. You don't add any value. You are just exchanging money. That is bad. Yes. So then there is another issue with taking others people money, just like this huge thing. Like I make money, but somebody loses. Like how am I going to go through that? Yes. And one last thing, and that is the most prevalent, most often that happens, is that people and traders specifically simply don't believe they deserve to make money. So there is this question or idea of self-worth, where I don't believe that I'm a worthy person, and therefore having all this money, yeah, that's just scary. It shouldn't be happening. So even if I make it somehow, I lose it. I quickly lose it. Why is that? Because I don't believe that I deserve it. If I deserved it, if I deserve the money, then I would have the money, right? So that is the difference.
Wow. Sorry, I don't want it to seem like I'm going over and beyond just because I'm saying wow each time. I'm
No, no.
I really am like reflecting on my own journey, and
Mm,
there's so many things that you're saying that that resonates with me, because I really struggled with feeling, worthy of the money I'm making. Well, you asked beforehand about the comparison that I had. So yesterday was a bad day relatively because I made $23.50,
right.
right? I'm all for being super vulnerable and just being open and honest about everything so that people can get a great learning from it. At the height of my training, which I'm not at now, I'm in a bit of a period of a drawdown. It happens to all of us. At the height of my trading, I was making several $1,000s a week on top of what I was making at my job, and I was working. I was in a situation where I really didn't have to work 40 hours. I was in sales. I was quite good at sales,
Nice.
and
I can imagine.
be, thank you, thank
Right.
you. And because I had a supplemental income with my job, I could perform quite easily in
Right.
trading because I didn't have any pressure on myself, and I felt I was being validated by the fact that I was so good at my job, so I had that validation 2x. When I left that job, because I had been so profitable in my trading for, I think it was something like 6 to 8 months, I was profitable. So I decided to leave and change. And all of a sudden, I'm just a trader. I'm that guy. I was the best trader you had ever seen, Matt. You couldn't tell me any differently, right? I felt like I was the second coming. As soon as I left that job where I had that certain level of validation and I had that kind of sense of security, my self-worth started to fluctuate with my
Right.
P&L.
Right. Right.
And I saw my consistency not fall off, but jump off a cliff.
Mm, right.
And everything you're saying here has resonated with me so much. So
So
so it
what I do,
appears.
what I do
Please,
with
please.
people is that I just use my pattern recognition skills, but I'm not looking for patterns in the market, but I'm looking in language, in the ways that they express themselves. You see, I believe that unconscious is always communicating, always, all the time. But we are not trained to communicate with the unconscious mind. We pay too much attention to the content of what they are saying and much less attention to the context in which it happens. Yes. So in other words, have a losing trade, have a losing streak. It's a normal occurrence. But then feeling bad about it is suddenly something extra. Why would that be the case? Why would you feel bad about it? There is something amiss in your unconscious programming. Yes. Or have this internal image and comparing yourself. It's again, something that is amiss in your unconscious programming that causes you to suffer. What I'm after is for people to just enjoy the journey. I mean, man, when I started, it was just so exciting. It was so exciting. You have all these things. Like when you first look at the chart, you know shit about it. I'm sorry, I don't know how politically correct
It's
should I be
okay.
here. Yes,
It's okay. I
but you don't know
understand. It's
anything.
fine.
You see just these different, I don't know, lines and whatever. But then after you learn, you suddenly have these distinctions. You can tell whether this is uptrend, downtrend. You can see what this candle means probably, or you can even imagine like what this candle represents, like how the time flew and what was the most probable scenario in that candle. And you suddenly see these things. And I wanted people, traders, to just be on that discovery journey. After 6 years, why should it be less exciting? Why should it be you going back and 2 years ago I actually made 20k and now I suck because it's $23? No, it's not. You are exploring. You are another day. Let's just enjoy it. That's what it is.
My God, Matt, and I know we don't have a ton of time, so I want to make sure to get to everything. As a last question for you,
Right.
I love what you're talking about with that journey. It's really a journey of self discovery, right? Where do you suggest traders, or just people in general, looking to be better? What's step number one in your opinion, through your experience?
I believe it's very important to understand yourself. So for me, trading consists of three parts. And I think I'm not the only one. There are just plenty of people there, but they just place a different significance on each of these parts. So there is this emotional or mental side of trading, trading psychology or mindset, or call it whatever you want. Then there is your approach, like how you trade, how you enter, how you exit, what pattern you are seeing, and how you go about journaling it or not. And then there is risk management or position sizing. And I believe from these three, what is most important is the trading psychology, to understand yourself. So, first of all, you need to understand that trading is about revealing who you are as a person and then fixing these small lines of code as you progress on your journey. Yes, it's about self discovery. Because honestly, here is the thing. If you now start trading and you have the best system and you have the best position sizing and you go at it for, let's say, 12 months and you made a killing and you can show it to everybody like, hey, I made this much money. Oh, it's great. But you suffered throughout that because you suffered from these anxieties or fears or greed or, this comparison or whatever it is, then was it really worth it? I say it is all about feeling good at what you are doing and enjoying yourself in the moment. So if you don't, then please stop whatever you are doing. Stop whatever you are watching and just go inside, look at yourself, how you can improve there, and then come back again and then do it again. Let it be exciting. Let it be like it was at the beginning. Let it be this journey of discovery where you learn something new every day, where it is exciting, where you are looking forward to, I don't know, share this journey with others and so on and so forth.
Wow. I've said that probably like 83 times. Sorry.
I didn't see
Um,
the previous interviews. I don't know, maybe this is your normal reaction. Yes. So I'm like, yeah, okay.
no, this
Oh
is
no. If you were looking for me or for my approach to this whole trading journey, you can find me in two places. One is on Twitter. My handle is Drop Coach Mat, but you just go with my name and surname. That is Mat Hani. And you can also find me on my website. Website is change4.me. So change for me, and that's where I share my content, and that's where you can find me and benefit from whatever you feel like benefiting.
Hey guys, Jordan here. Just wanted to send you a personal little thank you for sticking around and watching us here at Trade Delicious. If you did enjoy the content, consider subscribing. Everything we do here is completely free. And of course, we have some other video suggestions here which you might love. We will see you in the next video.